After an accidental blow to the head, I suddenly awakened. I now knew that in 2 days, my husband would bring home a woman, claiming she was a displaced relative in need of temporary shelter, but then he would defend her at every turn, ignoring her schemes against me, even elevating her to the status of a co-wife. So, before he brought her back, I took the initiative and brought my frail childhood friend, the young general, to our estate. Husband Liam has just returned from the battlefield. His constitution is weak. The estate is quiet, so I've brought him here for some temporary care. There is just one thing. Don't be angry. Liam accidentally broke the inkstick in your study and tore the landscape painting you were working on. He is just used to being clumsy in the army. Don't blame him. He didn't mean it. Oliver, just dismounting from his horse, froze after a long moment. His lips trembled as he spoke. There were 2 landscape paintings in the study. Which one did he tear? And the ink? Was it the one on the Nanmu bookshelf? I turned slightly, standing protectively in front of Liam. The torn painting was the one you were preparing to present to the Duke. As for the ink, it was the one I gave you. He had spent over a month on that painting, pouring his heart into it. The inkstick was a rare and precious gift I had brought back for him from my travels. Oliver's eyes instantly reddened. His lips trembled, and he was speechless. I sighed. Liam didn't know how valuable those things were. I couldn't bring myself to blame him. He was so afraid I'd be angry. He even wanted to atone for it. His health is fragile, and he can't handle strong emotions. For my sake, please don't hold it against him. Oliver's face was ashen. He forced out a low, guttural sound. Natalie, you brought him into our home without even asking me, and you let him into my study. Ordinary things I could let slide. But he broke the ink you traveled 1,000 miles to bring me. And that painting was my heart's blood. You knew that. How can you expect me to just let it go? He was agitated, but I remained calm. The ink is broken. I'll have someone buy you another. As for the painting, you can create a new one. There is still time. Liam once took an arrow for me when we were children. I owe him. For my sake, let's just drop this. Behind me. Liam let out a soft theatrical cough and bowed slightly. Brother Yi, my apologies. It was truly an accident. Oliver's gaze shifted to Liam. His lips pressed into a thin line, the veins in his neck bulging. Husband, you must be tired from your journey. You should rest. Liam can't be out in the wind either. He has an old leg injury. I'll take him to his room to rest. As I turned to lead Liam away, Oliver grabbed my sleeve. Natalie, men and women should maintain their distance. You, a soft, weak female voice interrupted him. Looked over and saw her, the damsel in distress as Oliver had brought back, alighting from his carriage. Though dressed in coarse linen, her face was lovely, clearly unused to hardship. Husband, who is this? Oliver finally snapped back to the present. His anger faded, replaced by an unnatural expression. He looked away. She is my distant cousin, Sylvia. Her hometown was struck by disaster, and her husband died. I brought her back to offer some care. I looked at this pitiable woman, but I knew the truth. She was no cousin, but an old flame from his hometown. There was no disaster. It was just an excuse. Her arrival was the beginning of my nightmare. Smiled faintly. Of course, I'll have someone arrange a room for her. However, Liam is already in the Iris Court. Will a side room be acceptable for her? Oliver had no choice but to agree. His family was not wealthy. Besides the Iris Court, our estate only had side rooms. I had a servant hastily clean one, and Oliver personally carried Sylvia's luggage inside, his eyes frequently darting towards Liam and me. That night, Oliver couldn't hold it in any longer. Can't Liam recuperate somewhere else? He is a man, after all. It is not convenient to have him here. Why ever not? I refused. We've known each other since childhood, and he came to the capital specifically to recover. If I don't care for him, I would be ungrateful. But propriety between men and women. Think of the gossip. Let them talk. Our conscience is clear. Besides, didn't you bring Sylvia back? The same principle applies. I don't mind, so you shouldn't either. He frowned, but I cut him off. I know what you are worried about. Liam and I are just friends. If I had any other feelings for him, I wouldn't have married you. I blew out the candle and lay down, ending the conversation. After a long silence, I heard him settle into bed beside me. For a while, the four of us went everywhere together. But Sylvia was not content. Her goal was wealth and status. Today at dinner, she coughed repeatedly. Sylvia, have you caught a cold? Oliver asked with concern. It is nothing, she said, dabbing her lips with a handkerchief. The side room is just a bit damp and cold. It is not serious. She then broke into a violent coughing fit and swayed, collapsing into Oliver's arms. He immediately felt her forehead. It is quite serious. The physician, before he could finish, Liam, beside me, suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. He fell to one knee, blood seeping through his fingers. Liam, I cried, rushing to his side. What is it? Is it an old wound? Oliver and Sylvia froze, stunned by the sudden turn of events. I frantically wiped the blood from Liam's mouth, but he just kept coughing up more, unable to speak. Physician, physician! Someone, get all the physicians to the Iris Court now. If anything happens to the young general, I will hold them all responsible. I then supported Liam, half carrying him out of the room, ignoring Oliver's dark expression. Of course, the physicians found nothing wrong. The blood was just a packet Liam had prepared. But I kept them with him all day, not letting a single one near Sylvia. That night, Liam hopped out of bed and tossed a peanut into his mouth. How was my acting? A bit over the top, I said, sipping my tea. I don't get it, he said, propping his feet up. You used to be so in love with Oliver. Why the act now? If you can't stand him, just divorce him. You are a princess. He is just a minor official. You think he'd dare to cause trouble? It is not that, I said, wiping my lips. I am just playing with a dog. I, Natalie, can love fiercely and let go completely. My only flaw is that I am vengeful. If someone wants to make me uncomfortable, I will make sure they feel the same. I untied a sachet I had worn for years, and took out a protective talisman, tossing it to him. Keep this with you, and since you've been freeloading here, you should probably get a couple of bottles of wine to show your gratitude. I winked. Remember, one of them should be osmanthus flavored. When I returned to my room, Oliver was waiting, his brow furrowed. How is General Yai? Stable. He needs rest. That is good, but you seemed especially anxious today. I've never seen you so frantic. I paused, then said with displeasure. What do you mean? It was a serious matter. Shouldn't I have been anxious? He is a patient, Oliver. I naturally show more concern. Don't misunderstand. I turned to go to bed, but he blocked my path. Natalie, are you sure it is just a childhood friendship? My voice was laced with impatience. Oliver, I've explained this many times. If you insist on thinking that way, there is nothing I can do. I slipped past him and got into bed. He stood there for a long time, his expression wounded. I happily drew the curtains and went to sleep. The next day, Liam brought 2 bottles of wine to thank Oliver. He offered a cup to Oliver, who hesitated, his eyes fixed on the talisman hanging from Liam's waist. Husband, I said gently. Liam went to great trouble to find this wine. You should at least have a taste. Husband, I said, my voice soft again. It would be rude to refuse such a thoughtful gift. I've already prepared a sobering soup for you. Oliver looked at me for a long time, then finally took the cup and downed it in one go, immediately breaking into a violent cough. This wine has osmanthus, he gasped. His face turning red, then blue as he struggled to breathe. He stumbled, knocking over the table, and collapsed, unconscious. Sylvia screamed. I, on the other hand, reacted slowly, feigning panic. Summoning, call the physician. Oliver was unconscious for hours. When he woke up, his head was bandaged. I helped him sit up and offered him a bowl of medicine. Husband, Liam didn't know about your allergy. He meant well. Don't blame him. He has been blaming himself all day. Oliver's voice trembled. Natalie, you knew I was severely allergic to osmanthus. I just came back from the dead, and you want me to go and comfort your childhood friend. I didn't say immediately, I said sweetly. When you are better. Here. Take your medicine, he laughed. A bitter, self-deprecating sound. I saw it. The talisman on Liam's waist. It is the one I got for you, isn't it? When you were gravely ill, I climbed thousands of steps, bowing hundreds of times, just to get that for you. You said you would wear it until you died, and now you've just given it away. Natalie, do you have any real feelings for me? How amusing. He was asking me about my feelings. What about his? If I hadn't awakened, I would have eaten the hazelnut pastries Sylvia made. While I was covered in rashes and critically ill, he would have been comforting his crying mistress, even giving her the gold-threaded coat my mother had spent 2 months embroidering for me. Later, he would have watched as I was abducted by bandits, delaying my rescue because Sylvia was injured, leading to my violation and death. Even if he later found out the truth and was consumed by grief, what good would it have been? Belated affection is worthless. I was just making him experience what I was supposed to endure. Of course I love you, I cooed, but I am healthy now, and Liam has many old injuries from the battlefield. He needs it more than I do. Don't be upset with him. It is just a talisman. But I got that for you, he roared, coughing violently. Don't be so petty, I said, patting his back. If you really mind, I'll get it back from him after he recovers. He fell silent, then grimly drank the medicine. Good. Now rest. I am going to the Iris Court. I am worried Liam is too guilty to eat. I left feeling refreshed. For days, Oliver gave me the silent treatment. I didn't care. I spent my time with Liam, bringing him gifts and treats. Seeing us laughing together made Oliver furious, but he was too angry to even speak to Sylvia. Sylvia couldn't stand it anymore. On a sunny afternoon, as Liam and I were walking by the pond, she appeared. Seeing Oliver in the distance, she smiled triumphantly and jumped into the water. A setup. How predictable. But before she even touched the water, Liam yanked her back. She struggled, but he held her fast. Don't bother, miss. If I can't handle a woman like you, I'd be useless on the battlefield. You are not sick, she gasped. What does it matter to you? I smiled. He isn't now, but he is about to be. I winked at Liam, then glanced at the pond. No way, the water is freezing, he protested. I rolled my eyes, pulled Sylvia to my side, and kicked Liam into the pond. A beautiful splash. I then screamed for help. Simone, the young general has been pushed into the water. He can't swim. Oliver rushed over. Before he could say a word, I slapped Sylvia hard across the face. How dare you, a commoner, plotting against the young general. Do you know this is a capital offense? Oliver pulled her into his arms, his heart aching for her. Oliver, I didn't. She is framing me. Silence. I roared. Do you think I would frame you in front of so many witnesses? You had better pray nothing happens to Liam, or the entire Yi family will be buried with you. Just then, Liam was pulled from the water, shivering and pale. I wrapped my coat around him, holding him close. Oliver's knuckles were white, his fists clenched. It was so cold in there. I thought I'd never see you again, Liam whispered weakly into my embrace. Don't be silly, I said, warming his hands in mine. I then turned to Oliver, my voice like ice. Control your cousin. If anything happens to Liam, she won't live to see tomorrow. Of course, Liam was fine. It was Sylvia who was in trouble. After I slapped her and accused her of such a heinous crime, she was devastated. I overheard her crying to Oliver, claiming she was framed, that Liam was faking his illness. She offered to go back to her hometown to be left to her fate. Oliver, heartbroken, held her close, promising to make me apologize and to marry her. Oliver, she whispered, I have something to tell you. That night in Luocheng, I am pregnant with your child. It has been 2 months now. We were supposed to be married. If she hadn't come between us, I would have been your wife. Oliver was first shocked, then ecstatic. I have wronged you, Sylvia. Give me some time. I will make sure you have a grand wedding, a wedding in her dreams. That night, I changed my clothes and made sure to leave a red mark on my neck. When I entered the room, Oliver was waiting for me, his face dark. "Husband, I was wrong today," I said softly, preempting his anger. He was taken aback. "As long as you know tomorrow, you will apologize to Sylvia." "Even though," Sylvia pushed Liam, "she is still your cousin. I shouldn't have embarrassed her in public." I was rash. "Luckily, Liam only has a cold. I heard Sylvia hasn't eaten all day. Perhaps you could apologize to Liam on her behalf." "You want me to apologize to Liam?" he asked, incredulous. "Why not? For my sake, he won't make things difficult for you." His eyes fell on my neck, and he froze. "What is on your neck? And you've changed your clothes." I covered my neck, looking away. "My clothes got wet. It is just a mosquito bite. Liam already put some medicine on it." Oliver exploded. Liam, it is always Liam, Natalie. Can you honestly say you have no feelings for him? When you were with him, where did that leave me?" He was trembling with rage. How had I never noticed how ugly he was? I slapped him. "Watch your words, Oliver. Liam and I are just friends. You are with Sylvia every day. What right do you have to be angry? How can you compare the two? It is normal for a man to have multiple wives, but for a woman, multiple wives." I cut him off. "So you want to make Sylvia your co-wife? Have you forgotten what you promised the Emperor when he decreed our marriage? One life, one love. Do you want to deceive the Emperor?" He fell silent. I continued. "Let me be clear. Not even as a concubine will she enter this house." He looked as if he had been doused in cold water. I softened my voice. "Husband, let's not fight. It was all a misunderstanding. As for what you said today, I'll pretend I didn't hear it. Tomorrow, please take some gifts to the Iris Court and apologize to Liam. Don't lose your gentlemanly demeanor." His face darkened again. After a long standoff, he muttered, "Unbelievable," and stormed out to his study. I heard the sound of porcelain shattering. I locked the door, glad to be sleeping alone. For the next few days, Oliver stayed in his study. He didn't dare to openly visit Sylvia. My life was peaceful. I realize now how foolish I had been, to be so devoted to such a man. From then on, my favoritism became blatant. If Oliver and Liam both wanted the same book, I would give it to Liam. "Husband, you have so many books. Let Liam have this one." When Liam accidentally killed Oliver's prized plum blossom, I would sigh. Liam doesn't know about flowers. He was just trying to help. Every day, Oliver was on the verge of exploding. He couldn't even mention taking another wife. Just speaking to me was enough to shorten his life. Sylvia grew impatient. One day, she suggested a trip to a temple to pray for the disaster victims. I agreed. The four of us went. At a rest stop, Sylvia lost her purse, which she claimed contained a precious memento from her mother. Oliver, of course, offered to go back and look for it. I sent Liam with him, giving him a knowing look. With the two of them gone, Sylvia grew anxious, constantly looking around. "Are you worried?" I asked. "Number. Just worried about Oliver," she stammered. She was worried. All right. Worried that the bandits she had hired wouldn't show up. Just then, our coachman came running, shouting that Oliver and Liam had been captured by bandits and taken to a place called Heartbreak Cliff. At the cliff, Oliver and Liam were tied up on opposite sides, blades to their necks. Liam was calm. Oliver was trembling. "Wrong! Who are you?" "Let him go," Sylvia cried, but a cut on Oliver's neck stopped her. "The famous Princess Natalie," the lead bandit sneered. "We've heard so much about your love life. We made a bet. Do you love your husband more, or this pretty boy general? Choose one to live. The other dies." "Natalie, save me. I am your husband. I don't want to die," Oliver pleaded. I looked at him, then at Liam, who said, "Your Highness, don't worry about me. I have lived a long life on the battlefield." "Natalie, I am your husband," Oliver cried, seeing my gaze linger on Liam. Sylvia knelt at my feet, begging me to save Oliver. How amusing. If he died, who would take care of her bastard child? "Have you decided, Your Highness?" the bandit prompted. Sylvia, growing desperate, pulled out a dagger and held it to my throat. Choose him, or I'll kill you now. An arrow shot out from the bushes, knocking the dagger from her hand. As she scrambled to pick it up and throw it at the bandit, it was easily deflected. But then Oliver let out a blood-curdling scream. The deflected dagger was now lodged squarely between his legs. Sylvia screamed too. I slapped her. "Look what you've done!" The bandit urged me to choose. I hesitated, then finally spoke. "Husband, don't blame me. Liam has defended our country for decades. If I don't save him, I will be condemned by thousands. You've yielded to him so many times. Just let him have this one more time, will you?" Oliver's face went ashen. The bandits laughed, and the leader raised his sword. I covered my eyes. Oliver and Sylvia screamed and fainted. 3 days later, Oliver woke up in his bed. "I am not dead. The reinforcements arrived just in time. The bandits have been captured. The imperial physician says, your life is not in danger, but your manhood is gone." He stared in disbelief, then tore off the covers. The movement made him break out in a cold sweat. "There is no way. There must be a way." "I am afraid the damage is irreversible," I said, handing him a piece of paper. "The Emperor has granted us a divorce. He has also granted you leave to return to your hometown to recuperate. You will leave in a few days." He looked at the divorce papers, his lips trembling. "You are just going to leave me a widow for the rest of my life, husband. You have to understand." He suddenly grabbed my hand. "No, Natalie, you are not childless. Sylvia." "Ah, speaking of Sylvia," I said, my eyes downcast. "On our way back, we were attacked by another group of bandits. They were after her, said she had broken a deal with them. I wanted to save her, but your injuries were too severe. By the time we found her, she was barely alive. The physician said she had been violated and had a miscarriage. She hung herself yesterday. My condolences." He froze, all the color draining from his face. "By the way, do you know who the father of her child was? I should probably inform them." He stared at me, then vomited a mouthful of blood and fainted again. I looked at the blood-stained sheets with disgust, but then I remembered I was moving back to my own residence. This house was no longer my concern. Outside, Liam was eating a peach. I tossed him a purse of silver. "For your men. Good acting. Are you finally satisfied?" he asked. "It would have been quicker to just kill him." "Where is the fun in that?" I stretched. "Letting an enemy live out his days in despair is far more interesting than a quick death." Liam shivered. "They say never to cross a woman. Now I see why." 3 days later, Oliver was sent back to his hometown. He was in a bad state, mumbling incoherently, seemingly having lost his mind. As for Sylvia, I had her buried in an unmarked grave. I, Natalie, had finally had my revenge. A month later, Liam was sent to the border to fight. I saw him off. "Be careful out there," I said with a smile. "Don't worry," he laughed. "The enemy is not yet defeated. I have a country to protect. I won't die." He spurred his horse and was gone. I turned back to the city. The sun was bright, the streets were bustling. It was a picture of peace and prosperity. An old man selling candied haws approached me. "Miss, would you like a candied haw? They're very sweet." I smiled brightly. "Yes, please. The biggest one you have."